Please come to order. Those persons not having privilege of the floor will please vacate the chamber. Members and guests in the galleries will please rise as we are led in prayer today by the gentleman in the 36th District, Delegate Green.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Our dear, kind, and precious Heavenly Father, we truly appreciate the privilege and the honor, to God, that it is to call upon your name. We thank you, Lord, for your blessings to each one of us to be able to represent this wonderful state and its great citizens. Father, we pray for your divine help and your wisdom, dear God, to each one of us. Lord, we ask that you be with those, dear God, Lord, of our fellow members, dear God, not able to be with us, dear God, bring them back to us, Lord, speedily. Lord, we love you with all of our heart. We thank you for your blessings unto us. In Jesus' name we do pray. Amen.
Please remain standing as we are led in the Pledge of Allegiance today by the gentleman in the 85th District, Delegate Hott.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I would like to invite and encourage members and guests to join me in our Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Members and guests may be seated. Reading of the Journal.
Journal of the House of Delegates, February 10th, 2026.
Journal of the 65th, Delegate Martin.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I ask unanimous consent that further reading of the journal be dispensed with and that be approved as having been read.
Journal of the 65th, asked unanimous consent that further reading of the journal be dispensed with and that it be approved as having been read. Are there objections? No objections are heard. Introductions. Journal of the 50th, Delegate Pritt.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. On behalf of the Fayette County delegation, I am proud to introduce to you all today some students from Fayette County schools that are active in our Teen Court program. And I want to read a little bit about this program to you so you understand. This program is based on the philosophy that a juvenile offender does not continue to be an offender when a peer jury decides their consequences. This program allows students that have minor infractions at school that would normally put them out of school to go through a teen court program, to get into counseling, to get into community service for alternate arrangements to their infraction. It is a great program. If you do not have one in your county, I recommend you look into it. And so we have Miss Lucy Zukowski, Miss Evie Jones, Miss Maria Stewart, Miss Lila Reed, Riley Blankenship, and Miss Ava Emery. If you'd make them feel welcome this morning, I'd greatly appreciate it.
From the 65th, Delegate Martin.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Today in the South Gallery, we have a few guests with us. From Lewis County, I have Samantha Ribeiro Matos, member of the West Virginia Development Disabilities Council, the West Virginia Advisory Council for Education of Exceptional Children, and the West Virginia Medicaid Beneficiary Advisory Council and Treatment Coordinator for the 18th Judicial Circuit Community Corrections. That's a lot to say. And Jessica Stanley, case manager for the 18th Judicial Circuit Community Corrections. If the House will make them feel welcome. And also today, Mr. Speaker, in the South Gallery, I also have my mother, Roberta Lynch, and my sister, Carly Martin. If the House will please make them feel welcome.
From the 11th, Delegate Fehrenbacher.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I'd like to turn our attention to the South Gallery, where we have some guests along with the Secretary of State. If you will stand up, we have 4 guests from Wood County Christian in Wood County. They are here today to be recognized with a William Jennings Randolph Award and 100% sign up for their eligible students to vote. So round of applause for our guests.
From the 99th, Delegate Clark.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. On behalf of the entire Eastern Panhandle delegation, we have some guests in the West Gallery. First, we have Heather Sigel, the Vice President of Operations, Hospital Administrator, War Memorial Hospital and Hampshire Memorial. Bill Quirk, Director of Governor Relations and Public Affairs. Carmen Clipper, Vice President of Planning and Growth. They're all from Valley Health, and they're escorted by Tiffany Lawrence. Give them a big round of applause. Thank you all for coming.
Lady from the 63rd, Delegate Dittman.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. In the North Gallery, I have some friends and constituents joining us today. They are here with the Virtual Academy, and they are Tony Meadows, Olivia Arden, Stephanie Arden, and Zeb Arden. Please make them feel welcome. Thank you.
The lady from the 70th, Delegate Petito.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. On behalf of the delegates of Harrison County, Kimball, Riley, and Marple, I'm proud to introduce the recipients of the Leadership Harrison Awards in Harrison County. And I don't know where they're standing, but would you stand? And also with them is Alan Faree, Harrison County Assessor, and Marla Faree, who is with the Chamber of Commerce. Would you all make them feel welcome, please?
Gentleman from the 36, Delegate Green.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I'm also very pleased to have members of the West Virginia Virtual Academy. And if you are from the West Virginia Virtual Academy, if you would please stand up. It is a great honor for them to be able to be here. It's giving my children an awesome opportunity to have a great education, and I truly appreciate each and every one of you. So if the body would give them a big round of applause, please. And specifically, Mr. Speaker, I would like to call out a few friends back from the county that's up here with WVVA, and that's my good friend Jason Hunt and his daughter Addison, my wife Andrea, and our 3 children, Joseph, Jocelyn, and Jeremiah. If they would stand up and the body would give them a warm welcome, we'd appreciate it.
Gentleman from the 53rd, Delegate Levitt.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I have a long list here, so I'll just ask each of you to stand up when I call your name, and then we'll save all the applause for after. So first off, we have some pages. First off, I want to recognize Remington Warden. She is in 5th grade at Ruffner Elementary, and she plays softball. And she is accompanied by her mom, Julie Tom, in the West Gallery, and presumably her dad, Art Tom, somewhere around here, my good friends. Next, we have Bailey Mullins. She's also 5th grade at Ruffner Elementary. She is a future veterinarian. Next, we have Ariana Young at Ruffner, and she is a very good dancer. Next, we have Gabby Young, also in 5th grade at Ruffner, and she is the future President of the United States of America. Next, we have Abby, actually we'll do Brooklyn Nolan, who is a sophomore. Brooklyn is, oh, there she is, at George Washington High School. And then Abby Tenney, a friend of mine who is also a sophomore there, and she's accompanied up in the West Gallery by her mom, my friend Becky Tenney, and her sister Hannah. And then over in the North Gallery, we have Leanne Rhinelander, who's the manager of the Children's Theater of Charleston. She's accompanied by Mia Wilson, who's a 6th grader at John Adams, and Joni Abbott, who's a 10th grader at Herbert Hoover, and also Rigby, who is a 2nd grader at Holtz. Rigby is with her mom, Katrina Scarpelli, who many of you might know as my assistant here. And last but not least, my daughter, Reese Levitt, who is a 2nd grader at Ruffner Elementary. If you will please make them all feel very welcome.
Gentleman from the 66th, Delegate Kyle.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Colleagues, in beautiful downtown Bartow, West Virginia, some of the finest timber industry products are made. Miss Tammy Thompson is a good friend of mine. She's the owner of Judy Fencecraft. If you guys will please make her feel welcome, I'd appreciate it.
Gentleman from the 55th, Delegate Akers.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I've got a surprise introduction. Wasn't expecting today. In the West Gallery, my wife, my amazing, beautiful, smart wife, Mary Claire Akers, is up there. She's also with our twins, Ethan and Harper, who are not skipping school today. They didn't have school today. Didn't know they were coming. They showed up, I guess, just for my birthday. Thank you so much for being here. Best birthday present I could have asked for. Mr. Speaker, my wife had my desk decorated before we came in today, but I thought she might call me out of order for having that stuff on my desk, so I took it off. But everybody in Judiciary, appreciate all the stuff, the food you brought in this morning. Love you so much. Thank you.
From the 46th, Delegate Campbell.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Delegate Canterbury have 2 pages today if they'll stand when I call their names. Brixton Hampton. He is a student at Eastern Greenbrier Middle School. Brixton is here with his mother in the West Gallery. If she'll stand, Sarah Hampton. We also have Eli McMillian. He's a student at Greenbrier East High School. Eli is here with his mother, also in the West Gallery, Lauren McMillian. Will the House please give them a wild and wonderful West Virginia welcome?
From the 59th, Doug Shamlin.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I have some guests in the West Gallery. If they could stand when I call their name. They're from Ben Franklin Career Center, Honors Medical Assisting Program. They're here to complete a project that we interviewed for earlier. Christina Holston, teacher. Students, Abigail Milam, Cameron Hinman, Lily Hughes, Courtney Hayes, and Sarah Schaefer. If the House could make them feel welcome.
Gentleman from the 5th, Delegate Fluharty.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. On behalf of Delegate Flanagan, who is an accomplished flute player, by the way, we have some friends from the Wheeling Symphony. If they could stand, Mark Zyla and Gail Looney in the House, make them feel welcome.
Lady from the 56th, Delegate Young.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Good morning, everyone. I'm joined by some pages, if they could stand. We've got Zinnia Hamrick. She's homeschooled. I've got Saja, Huggy, and Lily Rhodes from George Washington High School. If they could stand and everyone can make them feel welcome.
Also in our page program today, Chair is pleased to introduce Elle Blankenship, who's joining us today. Her father is Mark Blankenship, known to many members of the body. Let's please make Elle welcome today. Are there further introductions? If not, standing committee reports.
Your Committee on the Judiciary has had under consideration House Bill 4881 relating to obtaining title to abandoned or junked motor vehicles abandoned on the property or place of business of an automobile dealer. House Bill 4997 relating to residency restrictions for persons convicted of terroristic threats. Senate Bill 208 exempting certain military records from public release. Reports the same back with the recommendation that each do pass.
Report will be received.
Your Committee on the Judiciary has had under consideration House Bill 4865, providing for a program allowing election official trainees to be appointed as election officials, and House Bill 4996, relating to bail in cases involving terroristic threats to schools or children, and reports committee substitutes back therefore with the recommendation each do pass.
Report will be received.
Your Committee on Health and Human Resources has had under consideration House Bill 5021, relating to the limited circumstances in which a registered nurse may administer anesthetics, and reports committee substitute back therefore with the recommendation committee substitute do pass.
Report will be received.
Your Committee on Energy and Public Works has had under consideration House Bill 4040, Non-State-Owned Roads Improvement Act, and reports the committee substitute back therefore with recommendation the committee substitute do pass, but first be referred to your Committee on the Judiciary.
Report will be received and the bill will be referred to the Committee on Judiciary.
Your Committee on Health and Human Resources had under consideration House Bill 5096 relating to removing services from requiring a certificate of need, and reports the same back with the recommendation that do pass, but first be referred to your Committee on Finance.
Report will be received. Gentleman, the first.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Two chairs having conferred, I ask unanimous consent to dispense with the second reference to your Committee on Finance.
Gentleman, the first ask unanimous consent that the second reference to the Committee on Finance for House Bill 5096 be dispensed with. Are there objections? No objections are heard. The bill will be placed upon the counter.
Your Committee on Finance has had under consideration House Bill 4003, West Virginia First Small Business Growth Act, and reports the committee substitute back therefore with the recommendation the committee substitute do pass.
Report will be received. Gentleman, the first.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Unanimous consent to take up the bill for immediate consideration and have it read a first time.
Gentleman from the first ask unanimous consent that House Bill 4003 be taken up for immediate consideration and read a first time. Are there objections? Okay, Chair hears no objection. Clerk will please read the bill a first time.
House Bill 4003, West Virginia First Small Business Growth Act.
Bill will be advanced to second reading. Further standing committee reports. If not, then select committee reports, executive messages, Senate messages.
Clerk of the Senate announces that the Senate has passed the committee substitute for Senate Bill 1, Small Business Growth Act.
Message will be received. Gentleman, the first.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Unanimous consent that the committee reference for Senate Bill 1 be dispensed with, and the bill be taken up for immediate consideration and read a first time.
Gentlemen, the first ask unanimous consent that committee substitute for Senate Bill 1 be taken up for immediate consideration, have its committee reference dispensed with, and be read a first time. Are there objections? No objections are heard. Clerk will please read the bill a first time.
Committee substitute for Senate Bill 1, Small Business Growth Act.
Bill will be advanced. Other Senate messages? If not, then resolutions, petitions, bills introduced.
House Bill 5430 relating to pharmaceutical benefits.
Gentlemen, the first.
Mr. Speaker, unanimous consent to further reading of bills introduced be dispensed with, that each bill be considered having been formally introduced and referred to the appropriate committees as indicated on the chamber automation system.
Gentleman from the first asked unanimous consent that the further reading of bills introduced be dispensed with, and that each bill be considered as having been formally introduced and referred to the appropriate committees as indicated on the chamber automation system. Are there objections? No objections are heard. Motions. Unfinished business. Bills on third reading.
Committee substitute for House Bill 4012 relating to reducing the regulatory burden on utility companies when constructing and maintaining electric power generation and transmission facilities within the state.
The question before the House is, shall the bill pass? Are there objections to having the bill explained in lieu of having the bill read? No objections are heard. Gentleman from the 10th, Douglas Anderson, is recognized to explain the bill.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. This bill will reduce and alter the regulatory burden on utility companies when constructing and maintaining facilities. The bill generally reduces the times required for the Public Service Commission to approve certificates of convenience and necessity for utilities. The various statutory approval times are shortened in the bill by 30 days or more. The approval time for certificates of convenience and necessity becomes 240 days. The approval time for certain water and sewer projects is 190 days. The projected cost limit is extended for approval times for high voltage transmission lines increases to 100 million, and the approval time is reduced to 360 days. The approval time for siting certificates becomes 270 days. This applies to merchant plants and material modifications of merchant plants. The waiver for maintenance and repair of high voltage lines becomes available at the Commission discretion. A certificate of convenience and necessity is still required for all other projects. Electric utilities must examine alternatives to new transmission lines, such as advanced transmission technologies, when they make their statement of need. The PSC must include an analysis of these technologies in their annual report. Finally, the bill places limitations and conditions on granting of certificates of public convenience and necessity by the Public Service Commission for high voltage transmission lines. These conditions concern cost and benefits to West Virginia ratepayers and the legal obligations to construct off-take facilities for valid West Virginia retail loads when requested. If compliance with these limits and conditions is not proven, the PSC by clear and convincing evidence, a certificate may be denied. Mr. Speaker, that is a summary of the bill. I urge passage. Thank you.
Question again before the House is, shall the bill pass? Is there debate on the bill? Gentleman from the 79th, Douglas Hanson, is recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. About a year ago was when I started receiving calls from constituents in Mon County with concerns over the Mid-Atlantic Resiliency Link. And the initial concerns were about how it might impact their land and questions about eminent domain. But as further research was done, it became better understood that these high voltage transmission lines would impose costs on West Virginia ratepayers, even though the lines are going to benefit primarily people out of state. And for that reason, I appreciate the amendment that the House put into this bill yesterday, because that will help. That will help protect West Virginia ratepayers to make sure that they're only going to pay for these lines if there are substantial benefits in the state of West Virginia, and that's only fair. So for the people in Mon and Preston County and Mineral Hampshire, Jefferson County, where the Marl crosses, and then the people in the long list of counties that the Valley Link will cross in order to power data centers out of state, I think those constituents will appreciate this vote as a vote for them and affordable electricity. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Is there other debate on the bill? If not, the question before the House is, shall the bill pass? Those in favor of passage of the bill will please vote aye. Those opposed will please vote no. The clerk will prepare the machine. Has every member voted? If so, the clerk will please close the machine and ascertain the result on this question. There were 96 ayes, 1 nay, and 2 members absent. A majority of the members having voted in the affirmative, the chair declares the bill passed. The clerk will please report the title.
Committee substitute for House Bill 4012.
Are there title amendments?
Delegate Anderson moves to amend the title.
The question is on adoption of the title amendment. Those in favor of adoption of the title amendment will please say aye. Those opposed will please say no. The ayes have it. The chair declares the title amendment adopted. The title is amended by the House will be and remain the title of the bill. The clerk will please communicate the action of the House and the Senate. Next bill on third reading.
House Bill 4089, preservation of hair during chemotherapy, also known as the Jessica Huffman bill.
The question before the House is, shall the bill pass? Are there objections to having the bill explained in lieu of having the bill read? No objections are heard. Gentleman from the 58th Delegate Hall to explain the bill.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Thank you for the opportunity to stand before you today to introduce some legislation that has meant a lot to me personally and to my family and to a lot of folks and families in this body right now. House Bill 4089 will require health insurers provide coverage for cancer chemotherapy treatment to also provide coverage for scalp cooling systems used to prevent or reduce hair loss during chemotherapy. By requiring insurance coverage for scalp cooling systems, House Bill 4089 would make these treatments more accessible to cancer patients throughout West Virginia. This increased accessibility could help mitigate the emotional distress associated with hair loss during chemotherapy, potentially improving patients' overall well-being during treatment. Each of us received an email this morning from the lady that I have inserted on this bill, Jessica Huffman. Jessica and I have worked on this legislation for over 2 years. We had a Zoom call with 5 other states Sunday at 2:30, wishing to run this legislation as well. I'm going to summarize. Delegate from 23 touched me yesterday when he read some words from a young lady, and Jessica sent us all an email, but I just want to summarize her words. Jessica stated, as a young nurse, wife, and mother of 6, I was diagnosed with breast cancer. I continued working through surgery and chemotherapy, determined to stay strong for my family. Losing my hair wasn't about vanity. It was about losing privacy, dignity, and a sense of control. Most of all, she worried about the fear it placed in her children's eyes. Scalp cooling systems can help cancer patients keep their hair during treatment, yet insurance coverage remains inconsistent and out of reach for many West Virginians. House Bill 4089 is about hope, about allowing patients to hold on to a piece of themselves while they fight for their lives, for their family. I urge passage. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Question again is, shall the bill pass? Is there debate on the bill? Gentleman from the 14th, Douglas Foggett, is recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Got a phone call. Do I speak to the bill, please?
Yes, gentleman is recognized.
All right, I got a phone call one day about this bill that I was unaware of. And a friend of mine whose wife is going through breast cancer, he explained to me what the treatment was. We talked about the price, and the price of the treatment is less than sometimes than a wig. And he said the insurance wouldn't cover it. And I was like, are you kidding? But anyway, this treatment gave his wife the ability to keep her hair. She could wear a hat where there's a little bit of thinning. She's able to keep a long ponytail. She's able to preserve, I don't know if you'd say dignity, but she's able to preserve her hair and her looks, and she's able to have something she could feel good about while she was going through this. You know, she had hope. She had something to look, you know, there's a positive, you know. But I would just like to thank my friend, Delegate Hall. I'd like to thank him for bringing this bill to us, doing all the hard work, and then allowing me just to sign on to it and to speak on it. Thank you.
Gentleman from the 7th, Douglas Sheedy, is recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Permission to speak to the bill?
Yes, gentleman is recognized.
I got to sit and speak with Delegate Hall a few days ago about this bill, and the question arose, about my pink pen. Why do I carry a pink pen? I carry this pink pen in memory of my mother and my brother-in-law, who were both breast cancer survivors. Thank you.
Is there further debate on the bill? Does the gentleman from the 58th wish to close debate on the bill? If not, the question before the House is, shall the bill pass? Those in favor of passage of the bill will please vote aye. Those opposed will please vote no. The clerk will prepare the machine. Has every member voted? If so, the clerk will close the machine and ascertain the result on this question. There were 97 ayes, 0 nays, and 2 members absent. A majority of the members having voted in the affirmative, the chair declares the bill passed. The clerk will please report the title.
House Bill 4089.
Are there title amendments? If not, the title is read, but the clerk will be and remain the title of the bill. The clerk will please communicate the action of the House to the Senate. Next bill on third reading.
Committee substitute for House Bill 4466. Extend the public intoxication of alcohol code to include being under the impairment of narcotics in public.
The question before the House is, shall the bill pass? Are there objections to having the bill explained in lieu of having it read? No objections are heard. Gentleman from the 50th, Doug Pritt, to explain the bill.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Speaker. I'll offer a brief explanation of the bill. House Bill 4466 amends West Virginia Code relating to allowing for a charge of public intoxication where someone is under the influence of a controlled substance, and provides for counseling on alcohol and controlled substance dependence upon conviction. This committee substitute provides for a first offense of a person appearing in a public place in an intoxicated condition, either by being intoxicated by alcohol or by a controlled substance. A person may now voluntarily agree to attend counseling on alcohol and controlled substance dependence. No more than 6 hours at a closest community mental health center. The judge may delay sentencing until the program is completed, and upon completion of that program may dismiss the charges. Lastly, this committee substitute further provides that 3 convictions for public intoxication for controlled substances within the preceding 6 months is now considered evidence of dependence on a controlled substance. I'm willing to answer any questions that anyone may have. Thank you.
Question again before the House is, shall the bill pass? Gentleman from the 57th, Doug Lewis, is recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Would the sponsor yield?
Absolutely.
Thank you. And like I said, I like this bill. It provides options for law enforcement when somebody is suspected of being under controlled substance or alcohol. However, my question is, alcohol is more plain view, right? So we can smell it, we can see it, we're more accustomed to those signs and symptoms. So is there like, what's like the probable cause standard for somebody who would be suspected of being under controlled substance? How would the law enforcement officer assess that?
I am not an attorney. I will attempt to answer your question as best as I can. I'm simply the sponsor of the bill, right? This idea was brought to me by law enforcement in my district. I'm willing to answer, but someone else may be better suited to answer that question for you.
Okay. Should I just divert now?
You can, but my understanding is that law enforcement in our area is incredibly used to dealing with this issue, and they have a set of standards that they use to distinguish whether or not someone's under the influence of a controlled substance. So there's a lot of objectivity here. We have professional experts that are trained in this ability to identify whether or not someone is under the influence of a controlled substance. Drug recognition experts, DREs.
Okay. Now, would most law enforcement officers, and particularly those in rural areas, would they receive that training?
So law enforcement officers, from what I'm being told, have subjectivity in this area. They have the ability on the scene to make that judgment, but most rural departments have one or a handful of officers that are specifically trained in this that can then be called upon.
Okay. And I guess that leads me to my next question regarding their discretion in order to take an individual suspected of being under the influence of alcohol or controlled substance. They can take that person to an ER. They can maybe even charge that person. How would we sort of get around potential discriminatory practices around whether a person is taken to an ER versus taken to jail?
I would imagine that that's entirely up to the officer that's handling the situation. And it's probably taking into account everything around the situation. Is the person in distress? Is the person in the act of committing, maybe potentially going to do something? I don't know.
So there's no standardized methodology to make that determination?
Okay, yeah. So it says a person's faculties are impaired by alcohol or other substance to the point where physical or mental control or both are markedly diminished. So it's observable.
So so from there, it depends on the degree in which they are intoxicated would determine whether we're going to take that person to the ER or public intox center versus jail?
I would imagine, yes. Yeah.
Okay. Let me see. Talked about training. You got it. And my last question would be, we know our ERs are overran by persons who suffer from mental health disorders, SUD, and different things of that nature. Has there been any consideration to provide funding or a physical note for public intoxication centers? We used to call them drunk takes back in the day, and different facilities such as those.
This bill does not address funding for any of that. This bill simply gives law enforcement officers another tool and an option, like safety, prevention, and diversion, right? That's the 3 points of this.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Speak to the bill. Like I said, I like this bill, as I stated in the beginning. However, I think it could potentially raise some Fourth Amendment issues. I think it could raise some 1983 issues, particularly when you're talking about discriminatory practice versus whether that person is taken to jail or taken to a family member's house or taken to the ER. And my final point would also be, again, this is well-intentioned, this is good, but we also lack the facilities in order to adequately address this problem. We can't simply just drop somebody out at an ER. If you don't know, our ERs are overburdened by people who suffer from SUD, people who suffer from mental health disorders. So I would like to see us create some fundings for those public intoxication drop-off centers. And my last point would be, oftentimes people who suffer from SUD, who are on some sort of controlled substance, can be confused with somebody who has an IDD or a mental health disorder such as autism and who's suffering some sort of traumatic event. So again, I'm going to support the bill, but I would caution us that this could potentially create some problems. So thank you for your time.
Gentleman from the 84th, Delegate Jennings.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Will the gentleman yield? In the case of EMS where they have to give Narcan, would that automatically be a call to the police? Normally it is not. Normally you go straight to the ER unless they completely come around and they refuse treatment. So narcotics, they do have classic signs like pinpoint pupils and those kinds of things that tells us that they are on an opioid. And so that's the reason why we give them Narcan. And I just wonder, will this make it automatic?
This bill's not about first responders. This is simply about law enforcement. We're not asking first responders to police any situation.
They're not policing, but they know that if they give Narcan and they come around, they know what that was. Mm-hmm. And the reason I like this bill is after 3 times, they've got to get treatment. Otherwise, they go, and nothing happens. And I was just wondering if that would include that. That's all.
It doesn't preclude it, but it doesn't include it.
Okay,
it gives
thank
them
you.
options.
Gentleman from the 65th, Delegate Martin.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Will the gentleman yield for a question?
Yes.
Thank you, sir. So, on this bill, it essentially adds controlled substance to public intoxication for drinking, correct?
Yes.
Okay, so a couple years ago, we created a law where we have these things called PODAs, public outdoor designated areas. So can somebody be intoxicated by drugs in these areas legally if they're in a public outdoor designated area?
I don't think that even in a public outdoor drinking area, they can get intoxicated to a point to which they are in violation of
Visible. Yeah. So, I mean, even right now in a POTA, it's illegal to be intoxicated to the point that they're markedly diminished. Like, even under alcohol, that doesn't change. So possession of drugs is illegal. So it's hard for me to imagine that this would allow someone to be intoxicated by narcotics in a POTA. It's already illegal to do that under alcohol. You can drink, but you can't get, you know, how many sheets to the wind in public. There's a line there.
So you're not allowed to be intoxicated in a POTA.
Not where you're markedly diminished, where your faculties are markedly diminished.
Okay. All right, well, I appreciate it. Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Thank
you. From the 54th, I got Pushkin's recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Would the sponsor continue to yield when you're done?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, Chairman does yield.
Okay, thank you. So someone walk me through this. When an individual is picked up for this, for public intox, whether it's alcohol or a controlled substance, where would they then be taken?
Just be taken into custody until they sober up.
I can't hear you.
They'd be taken into custody until they sober up.
So like in the regional jail or the police station? Because I don't think we have drunk tanks anymore.
So they can look for a non-intoxicated person who will accept responsibility for the person. They issue a citation on first offense. Okay. If it's not an undue burden on the officer, he or she may transport the individual to the individual's present residence or arrange for an individual's incapacity. Okay. If they're incapacitated, then the officer will arrange for transportation to the judicial officer.
I'm sorry, to where?
All of this matches current alcohol code. So whatever the code says about alcohol, those would be the procedures for this as well.
All right. Thanks. The reason I asked is because currently there aren't too many counties, too many jurisdictions that have public PI shelters anymore. And it's an issue. I don't think your bill doesn't change that, and it's not your fault. It's hard to operate these types of facilities. So what I hear a lot from law enforcement is there's no place to take them. So maybe it's something we can work on in the future. So there are actual facilities safe places to take the folks to if they're like it. But thank you very much. Thanks for the bill. I support the bill.
Is there further debate on the bill? Does the gentleman wish to close debate on the bill? If not, the question before the House is shall the bill pass. Those in favor of passage of the bill will please vote aye. Those opposed will please vote no. The clerk will prepare the machine. Has every member voted? If so, the clerk will please, from the 57th, Lewis. Clerk will please close the machine and ascertain the result on that question. There were 95 ayes, 2 nays, and 2 members absent. A majority of the members having voted in the affirmative, the chair declares that bill passed. The clerk will please report the title.
Committee substitute for House Bill 4466.
Are there title amendments?
Delegate Akers moves to amend the title.
The question is on adoption of the title amendment. Those in favor of adoption of the title amendment will please say aye. Those opposed will please say no. The ayes have it. The chair declares that title amendment adopted. The title is amended by the House will be and remain the title of the bill. The clerk will please communicate the action of the House to the Senate. Next bill on third reading.
House Bill 4474, extending the Alzheimer's Disease and Other Dementia Advisory Council sunset date.
The question before the House is, shall the bill pass? Is there objection, or are there objections to having the bill explained in lieu of having the bill read? If not, gentleman to 58th Douglas Hall to explain the bill.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. House Bill 4474, extending the Alzheimer's Disease and Other Dementia Advisory Council sunset date. The purpose of the bill is to extend the sunset date for this council that is set to expire this year to July 31st of 2030. Council is made up of 19 volunteers from across the state. They come up with a state plan to deal with the disease and provide resources and information to families. Currently, they came up with the bill last year to put in place a dementia services director. We'd like to continue that work on into 2030. I urge support of the bill. Thank you.
You've heard the bill explained. The question before the House, shall the bill pass? Is there debate on the bill? Gentleman from the 80th, Douglas Williams, is recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Would the gentleman yield for a quick question?
Sure.
I appreciate it. So can you remind me, did we pass this last year and we're extending the sunset date? Is that what we're doing?
Yeah, we passed it 2 years ago that had a sunset date to expire June 30th of 2026. All we're doing is extending that on into 2030.
Okay, all right. Thank you very much.
You're quite welcome. Thanks for asking.
Is there further debate on the bill? If not, those in favor of passage of the bill will please vote aye. Those opposed will please vote no. The clerk will prepare the machine. Has every member voted? If so, the clerk will please close the machine and ascertain the result on that question. There were 97 ayes, 0 nays, and 2 members absent. A majority of the members having voted in the affirmative, the chair declares the bill passed. The clerk will please report the title.
House Bill 4474.
Are there title amendments? If not, the title is read, but the clerk will be and remain the title of the bill. The clerk will please communicate the action of the House to the Senate. Next bill on third reading.
Committee substitute for House Bill 4501, relating to dietitian licensure compact.
The question before the House is, shall the bill pass? Are there objections to having the bill explained in lieu of having the bill read? If not, gentleman the 99th clerk to explain the bill.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. The purpose of committee substitute for House Bill 4501 is to enact the Dietitians Licensure Compact. The compact has already been enacted by 15 states, including Ohio, and legislation to enact compact is currently pending in 4 additional states, one of which is Kentucky. The compact is similar to 7 other occupational licensing compacts that West Virginia has already joined. Enacting this compact will allow the Board of Licensed Dietitians, licensees, to obtain a compact privilege to legally practice in every other state in which the compact has been enacted. It will also allow other member states' licensees to practice in West Virginia pursuant to the compact privilege. Additionally, the committee substitute adds a new section to the code granting the Board of Licensed Dietitians the express authority to require national and state criminal history background checks of licensees who desire to practice in other states pursuant to the compact privilege. The expressed authorization was added to ensure that FBI can perform background checks for and share information with the Board of Licensed Dietitians, thereby allowing the board to comply with compact's requirements. I urge passage.
Question for the House, shall the bill pass? Is there debate on the bill? If not, those in favor of passage of the bill will please vote aye. Those opposed will please vote no. The clerk will prepare the machine. Has every member voted? If so, the clerk will please close the machine and ascertain the result on that question. There were 96 ayes, 0 nays, and 3 members absent. A majority of members having voted in the affirmative, the chair declares the bill passed. The clerk will please report the title.
Committee substitute for House Bill 4501.
Are there title amendments? If not, then the title is read, but the clerk will be and remain the title of the bill. The clerk will please communicate the action of the House to the Senate. Next bill on third reading.
Committee substitute for House Bill 4695 to double the criminal penalty for anyone found guilty of sexual assault on a minor.
The question before the House is, shall the bill pass? Are there objections to having the bill explained in lieu of having the bill read? If not, gentleman the 35th, Doug Advance, to explain the bill.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. House Bill 4695 doubles the criminal penalty for anyone found guilty of sexual assault on a minor. This bill amends the West Virginia Code relating to enhancing criminal penalties for certain sexual offenses and offenses relating to child abuse. I urge passage.
The Question again before the House is, shall the bill pass? Is there debate on the bill? Gentleman from the 8th, Bell.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Speak to the bill.
Yes, gentleman is recognized.
So I rise in support of this bill. In my district, we had multiple situations where individuals who have been accused and found guilty of this behavior were given plea bargains that were laughing stocks at best. Somebody who was abusing a child got 6 months in prison. I wholeheartedly support this bill, and I hope these plea bargains stop. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Is there further debate on the bill? Does the gentleman wish to close debate on the bill? If not, the question before the House is, shall the bill pass? Those in favor of passage of the bill will please vote aye. Those opposed will please vote no. The clerk will prepare the machine. Has every member voted? If so, the clerk will close the machine and ascertain the result on this question. We had 96 ayes, 0 nays, and 3 members absent. A majority of members having voted in the affirmative, the chair declares the bill passed. The clerk will please report the title.
Committee substitute for House Bill 4695.
Are there title amendments?
Delegate Akers moves to amend the title.
The question is on adoption of the title amendment. Those in favor of adoption of the title amendment will please say aye. Those opposed will please say no. The ayes have it. Chair declares the title amendment adopted. The title as amended by the House will be and remain the title of the bill. The clerk will please communicate the action of the House to the Senate. For what purpose does gentleman the 13th seek recognition? Delegate Haggard. Clerk will please report the next bill on third reading.
Committee substitute for House Bill 4767, relating to requiring the Bureau for Medical Services to file a legislative rule.
The question before the House is, shall the bill pass? Are there objections to having the bill explained in lieu of having the bill read? If not, gentleman the 23rd, Delegate Worrell to explain the bill.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. House Bill 4767, the purpose of the bill is to require the Bureau for Medical Services to file their policy manuals as a legislative rule. That's an explanation of the bill. I urge passage.
Question again before the House is, shall the bill pass? Is there debate on the bill? Gentleman the 54th, Delegate Pushkin is recognized on the bill.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Would the Chairman yield? So under our current rules, when there are changes to, say, with Medicaid, we just go along with what the guidance from the federal government is. Is that correct?
If the guidance is from the federal government, yes, sir.
Okay, and this would add this to the rulemaking review process on a state level, right?
That is correct, yes,
So,
sir.
and it does allow for emergency rulemaking, so we will be able to move quickly with all the changes coming to Medicaid that are right around the corner. That would not impair the state in making those changes in any way?
That is accurate, yes, sir.
Okay, thank you.
Question again is, shall the bill pass? Is there debate on the bill? Lady from the 56th, Delegate Young is recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Will the chairman yield for some questions?
Yes.
Oh,
yes,
you're
ma'am.
already up. Thank you. So it's the Medicaid manual. What sort of stuff is in here?
Well, there are multiple policy manuals across different types of services being offered. So this just allows for those manuals to go before the Legislative Rulemaking Review Committee, which you yourself can then take a look at for any changes that they propose.
I'm looking at the BMS policy manual's website, and it's like chapter 100, general information. There's like a list of all the different chapters. Does this mean that all of those are going to come before rulemaking, or is there just one that I should be looking at?
No, that is accurate. They've broken up their chapters into individual manuals.
And they're all going to, and it looks like, you know, they've been effective all kinds of different dates. And so they're all going to come before rulemaking as like one big binder.
Yeah, I would say, however, the department chooses to do so, they could as one big binder. It could be the individual effective dates as they make policy changes that would, need to go before rulemaking.
Okay, but they have to, it looks like they have, within the bill, they have to file it all by July 1, 2026. So does that mean they're going to have to file all of it? I'm assuming they'll just file whatever they already have right now.
Correct.
And within those policy manuals, there's effective dates, but I would assume there's not sunset dates. Are there?
There are no sunset dates. That is accurate. There are times when they have to update policy manuals, but they put them out for public comment. Sometimes they take multiple years to go through their process.
Will that still happen, or will it now all go to the rulemaking process, which also has its own whole public comment period through administrative rules?
It'll be up to the department on how that process will work.
they can still submit them to, they will still submit them to a rulemaking review committee. However, the effective dates can be based on what they have, each individual manual. There's multiples, as you can see here, so they have multiple different effective dates.
But if they submit it all as one rule, there will be one. I'm less worried about an effective date and more worried about a sunset date, and then also this public comment period.
Accurate, okay. Yes, so they would all go before the rulemaking review committee with an effective date of that rulemaking, yes. Sorry, I'm confusing the two between the manual effective date and the rulemaking effective date, my apologies. Yes, so then the sunset date would all be the same.
And they don't have, do they have sunset dates now?
No, but I would, correct me if I'm wrong, I know you're on the committee, but do they not have to don't rules have to have a sunset date?
They do,
Yes.
which is why I know that these don't. So I just want to make sure that that's, will that be
So
okay and consistent with federal law?
Yes.
I like this. I just want to, process-wise, want to make sure it's okay. And then, I mean, with rulemaking now, we line our rules up with statute, and they can't go outside of the statute. If these are all, I mean, these will be based on federal statute, right? And then also whatever state law we have on top of that?
That is correct. It's both, but the policy manuals, they're policies, right? So they will go before that rule, but right now they have interpretations of federal and state statutes, but then there's internal policies also that they're allowed to have in these policy manuals. So
is the stuff in the policy manual their kind of gray area where they get to decide everything, or is it?
Well, I don't want to say that they get to decide because it goes through a multiple review, approval process, but yes, it is. And a quick example would be annual training from 4 hours, and they say they want the annual training to only be 2 hours. That's a policy, that they put in the new policy manual. That change would come before the rulemaking review committee to be approved.
Okay, and this might not be a health question, but would this be maybe one of the first times that we would be putting policy manuals in front of the legislature, really?
No,
or do we do that for anyone else?
I can't answer you on that right now.
yeah.
I believe so, but I don't want to tell you yes.
I think it might be, but I do think that this is exciting because this is where, a lot of the nitty gritty happens. So, well, I'm happy to support the bill. Thank you for the questions.
Thank you.
Gentleman to 22nd, Doug Linville is recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Would the chairman yield?
Yes, sir.
Is the Medicaid state plan part of this?
Oh, the Medicaid state plan is mentioned throughout the policy manuals, but it has its own separate regulation process, so no.
That's unfortunate. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
Question again before the House is, shall the bill pass? Is there further debate on the bill? If not, does the gentleman to the 23rd wish to close debate on the bill? The gentleman waives the right to close debate on the bill. Those in favor of passage of the bill will please vote aye. Those opposed will please vote no. The clerk will prepare the machine. Has every member voted? If so, the clerk will close the machine and ascertain the result on this question. We have 96 ayes, 1 nay, and 2 members absent. A majority of members have. Report the title.
Committee substitute for House Bill 4767.
Are there title amendments? If not, the title is read by the clerk will be and remain the title of the bill. Gentleman first.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Move to make the bill effective from passage.
The question now is on the gentleman's motion that the bill be made effective from passage. Those in favor of the motion will please vote aye. Those opposed will please vote no. The clerk will prepare the machine. Has every member voted? If so, the clerk will please close the machine and ascertain the result. On that question, there were 97 ayes, 0 nays, and 2 members absent. 2/3 of the members having voted in the affirmative, the chair declares the bill effective from passage. The clerk will please communicate the action of the House to the Senate for the bills on third reading.
House Bill 5022, relating to expanding the programs to be included in the annual capitation rate review.
The question before the House is, shall the bill pass? Are there objections to having the bill explained in lieu of having the bill read? If not, gentleman, the 23rd, I got Worrell to explain the bill.
Thank you again, Mr. Speaker. The purpose of this bill is to expand the annual capitation rate review to include the Age and Disabled Waiver Program, the Personal Care Services Program, and the Traumatic Brain Injury Waiver Program. I urge passage.
The Question before the House now is, shall the bill pass? Is there debate on the bill? Is there debate on the bill? If not, those in favor of passage of the bill will please vote aye. Those opposed will please vote no. The clerk will prepare the machine. Has every member voted? If so, the clerk will close the machine and ascertain the result on that question. There were 97 ayes, 0 nays, and 2 members absent. A majority of the members having voted in the affirmative, the chair declares that bill passed. The clerk will please report the title.
House Bill 5022.
Are there title amendments? If not, the title as read by the clerk will be and remain the title of the bill. The clerk will please communicate the action of the House to the Senate for the bills on third reading. If not, bills on second reading.
Committee substitute for House Bill 4412 requires certain websites to utilize age verification methods to prevent minors from accessing content.
Are there amendments? If not, the bill will be advanced.
House Bill 4725, clarifying the disposition of animals subject to animal cruelty treatment.
Are there amendments?
Delegate Young moves to amend the bill. This is HFA Young 2-11.
Ladies and gentlemen, we are in receipt of an amendment just filed to the bill. At this time, are there objections to advancing the bill to third reading with the amendment pending? No objections are heard. The bill will be so advanced. Next bill on second reading.
House Bill 4801, defining permissible expenditures for municipalities and counties.
Are there amendments? If not, the bill will be advanced. For the bills on second reading. If not, bills on first reading.
Committee substitute for House Bill 4098, to restore the right of a person to sit on a jury has been restored upon expungement of one's record.
Bill will be advanced.
House Bill 4462, prohibition on cell-cultured products.
Bill will be advanced.
Committee substitute for House Bill 4463, relating to the Board of Sanitarians.
Bill will be advanced.
House Bill 4561, clarifying the sheriff's authority to hire within their office.
Bill will be advanced.
House Bill 4602, relating to requiring the Department of Human Services to establish a pilot program to contract for supplemental caseworker aid services for the Bureau for Social Services.
Bill will be advanced.
Committee substitute for House Bill 4784, extending the qualified opportunity zones until July 1, 2032.
Bill will be advanced. Other bills on first reading. If not, leaves of absence. Gentleman, the first.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. For our colleagues, Douglas Kump and Doug Smith.
Are there objections to leaves of absence being granted? No objections are heard. No leaves of absence will be granted. Introductions. Introductions. Gentleman, the 28th, Doug Browning.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Today I'm pleased to announce that the West Virginia Academy of Family Physicians Doc for a Day is Dr. Mark Harris from Daniels, West Virginia. If the House could make him feel welcome.
Are there further introductions? If not, miscellaneous business. Gentleman, the first.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I move the subject to announcements. The House adjourn until tomorrow, 11 a.m.
Are there announcements? Gentleman, the first.
Yes, Mr. Speaker. All bills need to be pre-approved and downstairs by tomorrow, Thursday, February 12th, in order to be introduced for this session. The last day for bill introduction is the 35th day, which is Tuesday, February 17th.
Gentleman, the 26th, Secretary Rohrbach.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I'd like to let the members know tomorrow is American Heart Day, and we were all to wear red if you feel so inclined to bring awareness to heart disease, particularly in women. And the American Heart Association will be out in the Great Hall taking everybody's blood pressure tomorrow if they're so inclined. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Gentleman, the 72nd, Doug Riley.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Your Committee on Finance will meet tomorrow, February 12th at 9 a.m. for a committee meeting and a budget hearing from the Department of Administration. Also, your Finance Committee will have a tour of the Cultural Center tomorrow, February 12th at 4 p.m. Thank you, Mr. Speaker. The agendas are posted.
Gentleman, the 41st, Delegate Maynor.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Your Subcommittee on Legal Services will resume immediately following the floor session, and your Subcommittee on Courts will meet immediately following Legal Services in the Judiciary Committee room. And for tomorrow, your Judiciary Committee and Subcommittees will meet on Thursday, February 12th in the Judiciary Committee room. Committee on Judiciary will meet at 9 a.m. Republican members of the committee will caucus in the chairman's office at 8:45 a.m. Subcommittee on Legal Services will meet at 9:45 a.m. Subcommittee on Homeland Security will meet at 10 a.m. and your Subcommittee on Courts will meet at 10:15 a.m. and all agendas will be posted. Thank you.
Gentleman, the 68th, Doug Phillips.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Your Subcommittee on Local Governments will meet today at 1 p.m. in the Government Organization Committee room. The agenda is posted, and Republicans will caucus in the chair's office at 12:45. Your Standing Committee on Government Organization will meet tomorrow at 1 p.m. in the Government Organization Committee Room. The agenda is posted, and Republicans will caucus at 12:45 in the chair's office. And finally, your Subcommittee on Agriculture, Commerce, and Tourism will meet tomorrow at 2 p.m. in the Government Organization Committee Room. The agenda is posted, and Republicans will caucus at 1:45 in the chair's office.
Gentleman, the 92nd, Doggett Height.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Your Committee on Public Health will meet today, February 11th at 3 p.m. in the Health and Human Resources Committee Room. And your Subcommittee on Human Services will meet today, February 11th at 4 p.m. in the Health and Human Resources Committee Room. Your Committee on Health and Human Resources will meet Thursday, February 12th at 3:30 p.m. in the Health and Human Resources Committee Room. And Republican members will caucus at 3 p.m. before the meeting. The agendas are posted. Thank you.
Gentleman, the 43rd, Doggett Tony.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Your Standing Committee on Education will meet today at 1 p.m. in the Education Committee Room. The agenda is posted. Your Subcommittee on Education will meet tomorrow, February the 12th at 1 p.m. in the Education Committee Room, and the agenda will be posted.
Gentleman, the 2nd, Doggett Zatesalo.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Your Standing Committee on Energy and Public Works will meet today in the House Judiciary Committee Room at 3 p.m. The agenda has been posted. Thank you.
Gentleman, the 23rd, Doggett Worrell.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Colleagues, just a reminder for everyone that this evening there will be a healthcare providers legislative reception at the Culture Center Great Hall beginning at 5:30 p.m. The event is sponsored by the West Virginia Hospital Association, the State Medical Association, the Healthcare Association, the Behavioral Healthcare Providers Association, the Osteopathic Medical Association, School of Osteopathic Medicine, Rural Health Association, and the West Virginia Academy of Family Physicians. All legislators are invited, so please stop by and visit your healthcare providers this evening. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Gentleman, the 25th, Doggett Hornbuckle.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Colleagues, we will have a Labor Caucus luncheon right after floor in GovOrg. Thank you.
Are there further announcements? If not, the question is on the motion that the House adjourns at 11 a.m. tomorrow. Those in favor of the motion will please say aye. Those opposed will please say no. The ayes have it. The motion is adopted. The House is adjourned at 11 a.m. tomorrow.